This episode is brought to you by Redfin. You're listening to a podcast, which means you're probably multitasking. Maybe even scrolling home listings on Redfin, saving homes without expecting to get them. But Redfin isn't just built for endless browsing. It's built to help you find and own a home. With agents who close twice as many deals, when you find the one, you've got a real shot at getting it. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
Kraft Mac and Cheese is better than 90s hip-hop. We'll remind you of your childhood without making you feel incredibly old. Kraft Mac and Cheese. Best thing ever.
Welcome to Diz and Hers, the show about what's happening in the Disney community from his, hers, and your perspective. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Eric, and today's show we're breaking down the biggest Disney rookie mistakes that can completely ruin your trip and why Disney queues feel like they're getting worse, maybe not better.
Before we get started, we want to remind you that Diz and Hers can be found on all your favorite podcast platforms and also in video format on YouTube and Spotify. We'd love it if you could head over to Apple, give us a quick review, and let us know what you want to hear us talk about on future episodes. All right, so let's get into it. If you've ever gone to Disney with someone who's never been before, you know exactly how fast things can go off the rails.
Yeah, well, they say you don't know what you don't know. Is that right? The whole scenario here.
And it is some of the most challenging, patience exuding that we could do as adults when we're visiting the parks with non-Disney people.
Yeah. So we thought it would be pretty fun from afar. From afar, not there, to see some of people's rookie mistakes and kind of look to see what people are doing at the parks that would make us normally cringe or like, oh no, and smack our forehead. So what did you do? You went on our favorite place, the Reddit?
Well, not just Reddit. I scoured the interwebs to track down the biggest Disney rookie mistakes that you've seen in the park. So the initial question came from BMGB8D, not his original screen name there, but they asked the question, and now I went to, YouTube videos and websites, and obviously this post had 779 comments.
Oh.
Obviously, we're not going to read them all, but I used our favorite ChatGPT platform to take all of the information that I found on the interwebs and boil them down to the top 10.
Oh, you got a top 10
mistakes.
list for us. All right, so we're doing a TPM vid style top 10, huh? Where's
TPM
our
vid
cue?
style top 10 biggest Disney rookie mistakes based on what you think as the Disney community. And if we missed any or you think we're totally off base here, make sure that you let us know what your biggest rookie mistake is for our Disney guests. But let's start at number 10, Eric.
Well, we have it as not bringing the basics. So this is, I guess, as we pull all these comments, these 700 comments, they're talking about maybe not bringing their water bottles or maybe snacks. What do you consider basics here? Sunscreen?
Yes.
I could see that being a big one.
That is a big one. One that we are not mentioning in the top 10 was you never burn. So not bringing sunscreen, that is a mistake, but I will lump that into not bringing the basics. So a lot of people don't know that you can bring food, drinks, that kind of stuff into the parks. So looking at, there's a million videos about what to pack in your park bag. For us, sanitizer, definitely medicine is a really important one because, you could get your basic medical needs at first aid, but always bringing medicine that you would need during the day. Gum, I think, is a big one because they do not sell gum in the theme parks. What other basics, Eric, do you think people could be forgetting?
Oh, I don't know. See, this one, you know me,
Because you're
I'm
a
pretty.
guy. You're not bringing
Yes, I don't bring
anything, but I'm
anything.
bringing the backpack, the fanny pack.
I was going to say, like, all this stuff seems pretty good. I've gone to first aid to get medicine before. I mean, sunscreen, you can buy it there. But yeah, I think that for me, like something like that you normally would have, like a hat, maybe. You know, you don't necessarily want to have to spend $30 on getting a hat. So if you didn't bring the basics there. So I could see a lot of scenarios where you're, but for the most part, besides like gum, you're going to be able to get a lot of this stuff in the park somewhere. But I could see if you don't bring water bottles, or let's say you have a cooler or something like that, you are going to end up spending so much more money. So I don't know if it's I'm going to have a horrible experience because I forgot said thing. But we all know, like, when ponchos come around and it starts raining and you didn't bring a poncho, well, you're now buying one. So I don't think this is it's going to ruin my trip. I think it will just ruin the bank account a little bit more. Where I think the next one
But it's also comfort level.
Sure, the next one is going to ruin, like, your trip.
All right. So speaking of the next one, this is so important. Wearing the wrong shoes. I cannot tell you how many people said this. So it's not just like, oh, wear tennis shoes, which I mean, I cannot tell you the amount of women that I've seen wearing like dressy sandals and things into the park. I mean, these young girls have a little bit of a platform, like a heel situation going on. But this is going beyond just wearing tennis shoes. I think that it's super, super important to wear tennis shoes that are broken in. Like, don't get yourself some new kicks like On Clouds or Nikes and then just wear them into the park. Because even if they're comfortable at home, I guarantee you are not walking 13,000 steps a day on your like normal day, unless you do that for work. And then you're gonna need go back to the basics. Then you're gonna need, blister sticks and the moleskin patches for your blisters. And I'm telling you, it will ruin your trip if you have blisters on your feet.
Yeah,
At
I
least
could
for
imagine.
me, because I'm the one that's always getting the blisters.
Yeah, me. Once again, I'm the one that can wear my Converse All Stars with no type of padding whatsoever, and it could be completely fine. But I do know that there are scenarios where, I wouldn't want to wear sandals the whole time or Crocs the whole time. I know some people do that, and that is perfectly fine for some. But if you are someone who, is very much have feet problems, or your feet get worn out pretty easily, probably break in your shoes ahead of time.
Yeah, I mean, again, like maybe it's just me. I'm the problem because I have the like feet and back problems. And if I wear the wrong type of shoes, even for a short period of time, I'm paying for the rest of the very expensive vacation. Like, I cannot imagine wearing flip-flops into the park all day. But I mean, I guess I know I'm not alone because the Disney community came out in a big way talking about shoes.
Yeah.
So what do we got for 8?
Well, I think this one I touched a little bit earlier with the ponchos, but it's not planning for the weather. I guess that's probably where I really fall into concern, because I talked about sunscreen earlier and ponchos. So I'm more of a weather control guy, where I'm like, all right, we want to be prepared here, because there's nothing worse than getting wet. I absolutely hate it. And I know some people are like, I'm going to go on Kali River Rapids. I'm going to get soaked. Not a chance. Like, I am not trying to get a wet t-shirt. Wet shoes are the worst. Absolute worst. Talk about wrong shoe gear. I'm just not into it. So that's the extreme of like, if it's super hot out. I also think we've been down there when we're like, oh, it's going to be super nice out, and it gets really cold at night. And I was
just going to say Disneyland. I actually was like taking pictures and thinking about like making a video about the weather. Like, Disneyland is different than Disney World because typically, I mean, not in the middle of the summer, but their mornings are really chilly as well as the evenings. And so they have those $80, $90 zip up hoodies that have like the big embroidered Disneyland on the back and then the emblem. I'm like, if you don't check the weather before you go, you are going to be one of the 1,000 people that I see buying those in the evening when you just can't take it anymore.
Yeah, and I'm super thrifty, and we've been down at Disney World maybe in November or February when it gets cold at night, and I'm almost eyeballing all those darn jackets. I'm like, I want to buy that.
Oh, don't lie. You absolutely have bought one.
Well, I bought one, but I also brought that because I like it. So I'm not going to just say it was poor planning. But yes, you need to check the weather every single day and prepare for that and come prepared. So what's the next thing?
Okay, so number 7 is not knowing the park layout. There are a lot of people that said this in different ways, so I'm kind of paraphrasing here, but not like Googling the park or the property layout ahead of time. So, looking at the park specifically, like say that you are a West Coaster coming to the East Coast and you think that you're easily going to be able to walk between the Magic Kingdom or Epcot, Animal Kingdom, like you're going to be, I mean, shocked and waste a lot of time and effort knowing that you now need to get on a bus or the Skyliner to get where you need to go or get a minivan. And then, like, going down to the park specifically, even if you have a plan, but you don't know where any of the things that you want to do are, it's going to make your trip it's me it's all about the time savings. And if you have lightning lane and say that you're in Tomorrowland, but then you book Big Thunder Mountain because it's open and you can get it in the next half an hour, and so then you're just walking across this giant park back and forth, like not only are you wasting time, I feel like that's the definition of insanity. Am I right here?
Well, I think I remember doing it early days when we would go and I would set up my touring plans and set up my day calculation, like what we're going to do and optimized for stuff. And you can set how much do you want to walk and how much you want to minimize waiting. And I always was like, I'll minimize waiting. I would rather walk. Well, a couple trips of doing that and you realize, all right, I'm going to Space all the way to Splash. And then you realize how, like if you look at your watch and say, how many steps did I take that day? It skyrockets. So when you don't know the park layout, that is primarily when you hear these people that are walking 20, 30,000 steps in a day. If you understand the layout and kind of understand how you should maybe practically do things in the park, you can find yourself not walking nearly as much and or wasting the time going back and forth, back and forth. So I think that's proper. Now it is a rookie mistake, but also like you can't, like, no one's going to research a map and know everything the first time they go or the second time. So I think this is almost more of a, like, once you get the lay of the land, you will have a better understanding. So this is a rookie mistake that I don't think a lot of people can really avoid per se.
Exactly, especially like leading into the next one, which is not using the app. I cannot tell you how many people that I have personally witnessed that didn't know that there was the My Disney Experience app. Like they didn't even know it existed. So they're definitely not understanding the lay of the land at the park, because outside of like walking into the park and physically grabbing like your guide map, like how would you know otherwise? So the question I have for you, Eric, is do you think you can have an enjoyable time at Disney World, any of the parks today, without using the My Disney Experience app?
Well, I mean, enjoyable, sure, you could enjoy yourself, but you will, if you're an efficiency person, you're certainly not going to, because like, how would you know the wait times of like Small World? If you're back in Dumbo and you're like, hey, Small World's only 10 minutes now, let's head over there. Like, there's not boards everywhere. There are, I think in Hollywood Studios and a couple areas, there's like those boards that give you the wait times, like back in the olden days where they had it all there. But now you're pretty much using your app, let alone think of all the time we save from a mobile order perspective. And not having to wait in line. So sure, you could have a good time, but you'll have a much better time if you understood the app. Now, I'm sure the traditionalists are going to say, well, everybody's got their face in their phones all day. And I think that's overrated. Like, we're on our phones because we're stuck in line and we're probably scanning through Reels or TikTok for that matter. I don't think you essentially are always on your phone while you're at Disney, but you should definitely have it handy. It can't be like stowed away in a backpack. You're going to need it in your pocket because you will probably need it, a couple times an hour to navigate the park per se.
Yeah, and it is something you need to do on your phone before you get to the park is number 5, which is not understanding reservations and dining. Like, you just need to know if you don't have reservations for table service dining, most likely you are not going to eat where you want to eat, and then people get caught off guard, and then it, essentially can damper the trip. I don't want to say ruin. I feel like it's a hard
Yeah,
line to
see,
understand.
this is the one though. Like, I don't know. Obviously, if you're putting money into going to Walt Disney World or Disneyland at that point in time, I do feel like you owe yourself a little bit of research. You should do that. But traditionally, when you go to, like, let's say another theme park, let's say a Cedar Point or a Kennywood or Six Flags or whatever, you're not normally saying, hey, I'm not going to be able to eat if I don't get a reservation. So I do think this is a little odd, but I also think if you don't research and you're just going to Disney, I mean, we're all out here screaming from the rooftops now, hey, Disney is not like your traditional theme park. By now, the year 2026, you should know this if you're going for the first time. So I would do some research. So I feel bad, but I don't feel bad for the whole reservations and dining. You should know better, but it's still not a normal thing for most theme parks. So I can kind of give you a pass.
Yes. All right. Next one is underestimating time. And I think this is probably one that, like, unless you are looking at the videos and you're doing the prep, like, you wouldn't know. But I think, and I mean, even us being seasoned pass holders, that, like, I think we've even struggled with, like, everything takes longer than you think
Oh, yeah.
at Disney. Walking, transportation, lines. Like, so say that you want a rope drop. Len did this analysis about, like, a rope drop strategy, but it very much has to do with where you are at in the rope drop line. Are you
Right.
at the front or the back? Because that can significantly add, time or change the strategy. So, like, people think they're gonna rope drop, but they don't get out of bed until 8.
Yeah, that's going to cause some issues. So not only this, knowing that it takes longer, I always think the buses and the trams and the boat rides are always like, you always say, well, I'm going to get on the boat. And this happens every time you're at like a boardwalk or the Swan and
Right.
Dolphin and you want to head to Hollywood Studios or Epcot. And you're like, well, I'm going to get on the boat. And you just think that that's going to be quicker. No, dude, it's not. One thing that I typically can rely on is the walking. Like estimating how long things take from a walking perspective is a lot easier than navigating a skyway or a boat or a bus. That stuff is just, you'd have to give yourself so much of a caution, like 15 minutes on the front and back end. It could go either way for you. So, but you were talking about rope dropping. That is the number 3. And I would say one of the most imperative things, like if you're going to go to Disney and you really want to maximize your value, I don't want to hear it that you like to sleep in. Like, you can't sleep in. You need to get to the parks early. And by not doing that, you are just asking for trouble. So if you're not a
And
morning
I
person,
see these parents with these little kids all the time in the food court, like, enjoying their breakfast. And unless you really genuinely do not care about what you experience in the day, like, we have friends that go and they're more leisurely, travelers. They have annual passes, but they don't, like, ride a lot of rides, and they're happy to just go and do a couple things. But if you want to make the most, to get the most out of your money, like, you got to wake up early. And, like, when
yeah.
I'm saying early, I'm saying like 6:15, 6:30, depending when a rope drop is.
Yeah, we efficiency people and check mark list people, like, OCD like myself. We can't be sleeping in like that. We got to get there, get our stuff done, and then we can leisure once we get our stuff done. But yeah, rope drop is where you can get some of those hard to get rides get done really easy. So like we were just saying, I'm checklisting stuff, and for the most part, our early 5, 6, 7 years, there was always lots of planning going on. I would religiously go through touring plan and basically have our days all lined up, print them out, have them all set up. So number 2 is for those that act opposite. They show up without a plan. So the individuals on the forums basically are saying if you think you can just show up without any research or plans and you think that's going to work out, good luck to you. I think that's causing somewhat of a problem. You see any horror stories like that, Lauren?
Oh, yeah. I mean, every day of the week showing up without a plan. And then people get mad and then they get frustrated, and it could be around anything. Like, it's kind of a compilation of,
Right.
dining reservations, park reservations, how long it takes, like knowing those things.
Well, those are your
Um,
friends and family that aren't Disney people that come back and say, well, Disney was the worst thing ever, or the ones that show
oh,
up without a plan.
absolutely.
Because, and it goes along with the number one, which is basically those who think you're going to get to do everything, whether it be
Oh
in
my
one park
God.
or like, hey, we're going to get to Magic Kingdom and we're going to get it all done from 9 till 9. Good luck. You did not do your research. You're going to leave disappointed. There are going to be things you could not and will not do. And those are typically the ones that come back and be like mad about their experience. And I think it's because you didn't set your right expectations.
Yes. And I think that, like, you are planning a Disney trip, say you go 3 days, which a lot of people do, or maybe 4, and you have a pool day in between, like, thinking that you're going to do everything that Disney has to offer in that time is not possible. So while we were talking, I did just Google because I remembered somebody talking about the 3-2-1 rule at Disney. So this is what the community says is the best way to approach it. It's 3 rides, so must-do attractions, 2 entertainment choices, so shows, characters, or parades, and 1 table service meal or special snack. And that is like the easiest way to plan a day. And then anything else beyond those things, those are like your non-negotiables. They're a bonus.
So what do you
But
call it when you just get yourself a cream cheese pretzel and go on the People Mover and just ask to keep going? Is that a
annual
good?
pass holder.
Yeah, that is my strategy, and that makes a good day for me. But we want to know. So that was top 10 from wonderful forum. Thanks to the 700 comments that help us create that little list. But we want to know, what is the biggest Disney rookie mistake that you guys seen? What on that list or not on that list is the one that stands out most to you? What is the one that you found yourself, learning the hard way from?
Yes. So when you look at all of these mistakes, they all lead to the same place. You're standing in line longer than you planned. And honestly, longer than it feels like you should be. And that's the part that gets you. So after the break, we're going to be looking at Disney lines and how something feels a little different about them right now. But first, this.
Pepsi Prebiotic Cola in original and cherry vanilla. That Pepsi taste you love with no artificial sweeteners and 3 grams of prebiotic fiber. Pepsi Prebiotic Cola. Unbelievably Pepsi.
Now streaming. Disney Plus invites you to go behind the scenes with Taylor Swift in an exclusive 6-episode docuseries.
I wanted to give something to the fans that they didn't expect. The only thing left is to close the book.
The end of an era. And don't miss Taylor Swift, The Eras Tour, the final show, featuring for the first time the Tortured Poets Department. Now streaming, only on Disney Plus.
And we are back. So we just talked about all the mistakes that put you in line, basically.
Yep. Now let's switch gears and talk about the lines themselves.
All right, because the Disney fan community noticed that something has definitely changed, which led us basically to take a little closer look at what's causing this. So what's going on here, Lauren?
All right. So it's not that the lines are long. It's that people are calling out that they're feeling worse. Like, you're standing there thinking, why is this not moving? And I mean, I think at one point you were counting like the lightning lane guests to the standby. And wasn't it something crazy at first, like 20 to 1?
We had a scenario where we were in Smuggler's Run and our little one had to go to the restroom. So they gave us, and it was kind of cool. There was this back way where we went through like a cast member, like break room, and he went to the bathroom. So when they brought us back, there was no way to get us right to our family. So they walked us all the way towards where the checkpoint is, essentially where the lightning lane is on one side and the regular queue is on the other. And we were waiting there almost where the Hondo Anaka, like, animatronic is, and we just sat there knowing where our family was, and I just got to watch the basically, and it was something ridiculous. It was almost like a 25-to-1 ratio. And I don't know if it was downtime, if that's normal, but it was just lightning lane, lightning lane, lightning lane. And I'm just waiting here for my family, and I'm by myself with my kid, and we're fine. But we waited, half an hour maybe? And it was a matter of if they would evened it up a little bit, yeah, you see 15-minute wait on both sides. But yeah, that's what you're paying for lightning lane. So it's crazy, that ratio. And there are numbers, and from what we understand, there are protocols that if the ride goes down, they have to hit these lightning lanes. They have to serve them first. So that only hurts the standby lane to be even longer, right?
Yeah, and I do think I read somewhere that like the Disney community was really up in arms about this and that they reduced the amount of lightning lanes to standby because you are paying to skip the line like somewhat, but you can't, sell so many lightning lanes that now your wait is 3 times longer. So I think that they've been trying to find that balance, and I've noticed that the lightning lanes, I think this spring hit an all-time high. And so I'm wondering if they're also trying to increase the price of the lightning lanes to discourage some folks from buying them, to, balance things out. But lightning lane has definitely caused that, even you and I talk about manufactured lines because they want the lines to look longer. So you buy lightning lane because it always comes down to the almighty buck. And so the next one is line cutting is more noticeable. So I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about this because I actually think when we were putting together the show that this was the thing that got us talking about the queue. Like I kept seeing in the Facebook groups, Reddit, that like people are mentioning this is the line cutting. And so we're not talking about people per se that they're like, oh, excuse me, and they're physically cutting the line. What is making the community so mad is there will be one person waiting and then a group of 10 people roll up and they're like trying to manipulate and like, our group is up there. So I wanted to get your thoughts on this specifically.
We're always in line, and there's always that straggler person who's like pointing and then walking by us, and you just kind of let them go because you assume that they had to get out for some reason, this or that. I don't know if I've ever seen like 10 people do it or 5 people or 4 do it at that point in time. I imagine that's where like one person's waiting in line while the other people are doing something, and then they try to get up there. I don't know. I just feel like everybody has to pain and suffering all together. I feel like you got to keep it all together, and if you're not in line, then you have to go meet them where they're at. And I know we've been on the other end of that before, where like we got separated at Radiator Springs and you're way above us and I'm just waiting in line and there you are up there. And it's like, instead of me trying to cram past all these different sanctions to get to you, it's just like, you stand here and I make my way up there. And the problem is that I was a slow one or we got disconnected. Yeah, but I did see a lot of the chatter. Yeah, didn't they make some type of change? Like Disney make some type of regulation or change about this, or they're trying to cut down?
Well, yes and no. So I wanted to actually go to the comment section to answer this one because somebody did say it was Dino Yui, and they just got back and they said that they've seen the queue jumping and it's gotten so much worse. And it says, I watched a group of 7 people do this to catch up with one guy on Guardians. Did I have a bad experience or is it becoming more common? So there are lots of reasons this is happening. But the first one, and I mean, it had like 300 comments. The first one says, okay, but there are people who are told by Disney to go wait outside the line and join their party later in lieu of giving them like a DAS pass. Mm-hmm. So in some cases, you are wrong and being a complete jerk to assure your ego, somebody said.
Well, let me ask you though, because that's the thing is like when we had that scenario happen at Smuggler's Run, we didn't have to rush by everybody. They walked us to where they wanted. Like the people that are trying to, it's almost dangerous for the queue because we're just all standing there and they shove you to the side and they try to push past you. Like I don't think a
Yeah.
cast member should be like, hey, meet back up with them like that. I think there should probably be some logistical, hey, this is where your next meeting point is, or hey, this is how we can get it, or vice versa. I understand kids having to do the bathroom, or there are scenarios where somebody can't stand. And in this day and age, the queues are long and there is nowhere to sit a lot of the time. So if you do have a situation where you can't just automatically jump the line, or you have some type of, a disability that gets you to the front of the pass, I understand where like it makes sense. You sit there and then you come over. But I don't know. I think it's when they're all kind of pushing by and you really don't know what the heck's going on. Is like, are they skipping line right now?
Right. And I think that from what I'm like looking at here, they've kind of got mixed messages on how to handle it, because like say that it's a really long line and you can't even get to a cast member and you have a little kid that, needs to go to the bathroom. But that is a big one. And in this thread, there was a cast member that was actually talking about it and how they've said, that they've talked about how these queues with really long lines should have bathroom points in them. And, they were talking about some of the new rides do, but like say Guardians doesn't, because that was just a kind of a re-theme of that already existing structure.
It's such going to be a problem though anyway, though. Like you go to the bathroom, then you're still going to have to catch up. I feel like what we need are queues for the queues, so that you just literally have a queue and then you have little break points where you just have to wait there until your party's there. Like, so it's spoking off, or at the end of the day, it's just a Disney line. I mean, talk to a cast member. They usually can walk you to the place like I did. So if you just do it properly, a lot of the times they can probably help you out. I don't know what their protocol is, but I think this chatter can go on forever.
No, I know. And, the thing about Disney is they're super strict about everything and have a process for everything. I think this is largely like they're also trying to figure this out with the rest of us. But, there's this last comment that says they were walking in Epcot and heard a woman talking to a cast member to meet Anna and Elsa. And they're like, my family's already like going into the room where they're meeting. And I just think that is unacceptable, that like you've got to have those checkpoints.
Yeah.
But I mean, we could debate it forever, but that is the reason that the lines are maybe feeling a little longer than they should or they have in the past, especially if you've not been to the theme parks in the last 5 years with the addition of Lightning Lane. But what do you think? Is this just us, or do you feel this too lately? What do you think is causing it? We want to hear from you. But that does it for this week's episode of Diz and Hers. For more, make sure you're hitting up dizandhers.com. There you'll find articles, episodes, and the latest updates. And if Disney's your vibe, be sure to subscribe.
And remember, number one, don't skip line or we'll be calling you out for it. But also watch what you post, because you might end up in next week's episode. Thanks for listening.